Greetings, YouTube. A nearly 25-year study has concluded that children raised in lesbian households are psychologically well-adjusted and had fewer behavioral problems than their peers. Results were published this month in Pediatrics, the Journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Now, I've heard about this article in a number of different locations online. I read a number of different blogs for news feeds, and a lot of people are saying in the blog sphere that they question how unbiased this particular study was done. Was done. But it was almost 25 years to complete the study, so it makes me think that it would be hard to make it completely biased because you'd have multiple people working on the study over time. And Pediatrics is a reputable magazine, a journal, so I'm thinking that there is the possibility of bias. You always have the possibility of bias when you deal with people. It's just the nature of people. Even if they don't do it intentionally, they can want something bad enough that they can push results in one way or the other. But I have no difficulty believing that lesbians make good parents. And one of the reasons I say this is that the lesbians studied in this were all biological parents. And for a lesbian to become a biological parent, it is a deliberate act. There are no, whoops, we're pregnant, honey, episodes in lesbian couples. You have to go out there and decide, I want to be a mother. And then you have to go and find a method of achieving that goal. Finding someone to have sex with you in a conventional manner, or using in vitro fertilization, which is expensive and complex procedure. So anyone going to these lengths is really invested in being a parent. And I think that's the key here. That a person that is extremely invested in being a parent is, to my mind, unsurprisingly, going to put the investment into being a good parent. I think that if you were to do studies for people who adopt, or heterosexual couples that use IVF to get pregnant, you might find some similar results in the fact that the people who really want to go out there and be parents are very good at it, and they try their best to raise their child in the healthiest household that they can. There's also the possibility, at least a hope on my part, that a lesbian couple raising a child is going to have a much better chance of raising a child that isn't going to have a lot of the preconceived prejudices that can come with being raised in America, because this child has parents that are in a minority group which is frequently hated by the American majority. Unfortunately, I have encountered over time the reality that even minority groups can in fact be as prejudiced and bigoted as the majority that they live within. For example, followers of Dr. King and the Mormon community both backing the Proposition 8 in California. And you'd think that a religious minority and a group of people that fought for the civil liberties of all races in America both would have gotten behind the minority group of the gay community trying to have marital equality in California, but they didn't. It broke my heart when I discovered this. I've done videos on this in the past, and sadly, I will probably have to do them again. But this study really, to me, is all about the investment that parents have in their kids, and that being the success of being a good parent. And now I have no problem with gay couples. I'm indifferent to the sex, gender, or orientation of a parent, so long as they do a good job and they try their best. Hopefully that their best will be good enough. I think that most people probably need parenting classes. Most people don't get them. There's far too much, in my opinion, in the world where it's put tab into slot A, repeat as necessary, and just try to muddle your way through being a parent. And I think that we as a society suffer for that. And the children raised by parents who have not been properly educated suffer for it as well. So these lesbian couples went the extra mile, and so it showed in their children. And I don't think that's really surprising. And I'm glad we have this study. And I don't have the background or the training to tell you if this is actually biased. I don't have the data. I don't have the training to even interpret the data. But I'm hoping that since this is being published in a major, peer-reviewed journal, that people will poke through the data and discover whether it is biased or how biased it is, and how much of the information garnered in the study is useful. It could all be useful. We could get lucky. But it did make me smile when I read the headline. It made me happy. I know that the religious right's going to use this in some way or shape or form against the gay community. They always find a way to do that because, haters gotta hate. But at least when I read the article, at least when I read most of the comments that on the thread I shall link to, it made me smile.